6:30. John, you've been pretty silent over there.
And we'll begin. All right. I'd like to welcome everybody to the May 19th Culver Planning Commission regular meeting. Just a heads up, if you're online or if you're in the audience, when we ask for questions or comments, go ahead and give us your name and your address. Doesn't seem like there's a lot on the docket for that today, but just want to get that out of the way. So let's go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And moving along to the roll call of members.
Okay. John Miller.
Present.
John Christ.
Present.
Okay. Chester Goot.
Present.
Joel Samuelson.
Present.
Danny Osborne.
Present.
And John Houghton.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any members online?
No, sir.
Okay.
All right, moving along, I'll entertain a motion to approve the April 21st, 2026 minutes.
Just note on page 3 a typo under old business, number 7, the fourth paragraph, middle of the sentence, ordinance treats such. I think it should be ordinance does not treat such.
You are correct.
Well, I'm just glad I didn't have
That
that grammar class.
I was going to say, it was my English teacher too.
Yes.
Sorry. Well done.
Okay.
Well done.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything else?
I'll motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same side. Motion carries. And moving right along, hearing case number 2026-P03. Sorry, I have 001 there. An application has been filed by Mr. Thomas Burnworth, architect and project manager of Milestone, on behalf of MIRKOWSKI.
Zach and Leslie MIRKOWSKI.
Okay. To approve a replat of parcel and then the number, McDonald sub lot 15 and 14 and 16, combined form, combined 157, 155. Said replat would combine 3 parcels into a single parcel. This property is commonly referred to as 600 South Shore Drive. So, center of file.
Yes, sir. And your statement of fact is also located in there, just reading on those.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I was looking at this before I came in, and I see the one seems to be a pretty straightforward 3 plats and a 1, but the next one I had a little more confusion because it looked like it was subdivided into a lot more different plats. Has a shaded area in the middle.
The shaded area is the house
Oh, okay.
on the lot, the existing house.
Okay.
The Milkowskis were kind enough to put the intended structure with this, even though it is just a simple replat. But they wanted to let plan know what they had intended for the use of this property. Not that it's relevant to the replatting, but nonetheless.
Let's see, that's what kind of threw me, is I see the replats of 14, 15, and 16.
Yeah.
And then right in the middle of it, lot 1.
Yeah.
Right.
So that, where the shaded area is the house?
That's the house that's on, it was split on those 3 lots. The existing house that was there.
It's Campbell's old house.
It was, and one of the existing issues, Dan, I think, was that that house, that existing structure was actually sitting on 3 lots. It was divided on the lot line,
Right, okay.
which now that it's out, what they're wanting to do is create a single lot, more compliant, more conforming. And,
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
When that house undergone, I'm not sure which word I should use properly, but there was some concerns about the gutters feeding into the grinder pump for the sewer.
Okay.
And I'm trusting that was resolved.
I can't answer that. With my understanding, the house caught on fire and it needs redone.
It's caught on fire since it was remodeled.
Yes.
Yeah. And what will happen with that, John, to your question and concern, that would be addressed by Marshall County in the building permit.
Permit process, we would.
Well, I seem to recall when the remodel went on first time and they shut the septic off, disconnected it, then it was discovered that all the downspouts were feeding into it.
Yeah.
And we were told it was rectified. When I say we, the Conservancy District was told it was rectified.
Duly noted. I think on a separate issue, I'll confirm with Marshall County with your concerns. We will have to reapply since it's new construction, but
Yeah.
I'll emphasize that the pre-existing condition wasn't acceptable to the Conservancy.
And like I said, we were told it was rectified. So-
Right. Yep.
Is the house still there, or is it being completely torn down, or what's?
Right, it's gonna be completely torn down and the insurance company is doing an investigation on whether we can use the existing foundation or not.
Okay.
Or whether it would need to be a new foundation. But they intend to use the same footprint that's there now. Is the intent.
And just out of odd curiosity, the shaded area where on one it says that it's existing parking, why is it shaded different from the rest? It's still owned by one of the lots?
Yeah, it's all the same property. I can't answer that on the survey why
It
it's
just
marked
seemed
that
odd.
way,
Yeah, the one with the house on it, I'm like, okay, that makes sense, they're giving you a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Paved, probably paved. Is that paved where it says existing parking? then?
At least it
It's
seems to be on
paved.
the picture.
Okay, I didn't see that. Okay, gotcha, that makes sense.
Which page does it say existing parking?
Existing shed?
No, next to it,
Oh.
to the left of that, it
Okay.
says
on the
existing
new,
parking.
on the new survey.
Yep.
On the new one, on the replat.
Yeah.
It looks like, as indicated, it looks like there are 2 pieces of asphalt.
Okay.
Yeah, I see it.
Any other questions? All right, moving right along to finding of facts. And so,
Did we skip over the popular comment section and public?
For the public hearing,
I apologize.
I was about ready to get to it now that we've had the presentation open and closed. Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to open the public comments.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All right. We'll start with the room first. Not everyone at once. Comments. All right. Is there anybody online?
There are currently nobody online to make comment.
I appreciate that, yeah. No, we.
No, I'm
Cross, dot our i's.
Used as myself, that happens a lot.
Give it a little bit more of a beat. I was running late, maybe somebody in the comments running late.
I do have Laura Hunley, I'm sorry, but she's not coming off of mute, so
Okay.
just letting you know. Kind of misspoke, there is somebody online, but nobody's coming off to speak.
There you go. I know sometimes when I'm trying to mute myself, it takes me a little bit.
Sure.
Absolutely. Rushing it.
Laura, if you can hear us, you may have a comment. Laura, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you have a comment for the public comment for the session?
No?
Okay, very good. I just wanted to make sure before we move on. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. All right. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now moving along to finding fact. All right, number one, the commission shall determine if the plat conforms to the principles and standards required by the subdivision regulations. Due regard shall be shown for all natural features such as tree growth, water course, historic spots, or similar conditions which, if preserved, will add attractiveness and value to the proposed development. Due consideration shall be given the prevention of air and stream pollution, proper treatment and disposal of refuse and other waste, and the elimination of other blighting characteristics. The subdivision layout shall be of such character that it protects the public health, safety, and general welfare of the town of Culver and its residents. Okay. That seems to be all the pertinent ones. Do we need to talk about the street system?
There won't be any existing changes.
All right, let's go ahead and hand those in real quick. It's because it's a street system that does not apply to this application.
No signature, agreement needed, and disagreement.
Yeah, no, that's one. If they end up putting a street through their property, then you come back to it.
And now we're dealing with a major subdivision.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved to accept case 2026-P03.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. If you might pass your finding of facts, please. Thank you. Sorry.
We did it with having visited.
Everything on file.
Everything I did on the last one.
Also, if the minute signatures are being passed around, I don't want to speak about those.
Don's,
Yeah,
Okay.
he's signing, he can sign that one too.
We got more things we want to sign, right? Just put those in front of them.
Yeah, he'll sign anything except that MASH episode.
I think Bobby can probably be taken off that, right?
Yeah, I think we're gonna be moving forward. We gotta find a replacement. Bobby, do you remember?
Oh, yes, it's true. Yeah, sorry.
I forget what it looks like.
Yeah,
Just a memory.
Still your promotion, Don.
I was the chaplain of calls before me, always had fountain pens. And I asked him, what's the fountain pens? He said, if you give somebody a fountain pen, keep the cap, they'll never keep the pen.
Sure.
Well done.
Remember that one.
Well played. Thank you, guys, appreciate it. Got it.
All right, moving right along to new business, the ADU resolution.
Gentlemen, it is time. This is a resolution, not for action tonight. I think that one more time, because it is going to be said, and it is an instrumental change. We all know that there's much discussion nationally as well as on the state level. CBS ran a really great piece on Sunday morning, I believe, out of Oregon, but that's neither here or there. There are three considerations I would ask the Plan Commission to review this resolution for. The first is how the relationship or the subordination of the accessory dwelling, and you don't have to do this now, the accessory dwelling in the relationship to the primary. I think we've articulated it. I think that access is defined by the accessory dwelling, but if you have feedbacks, changes, or anything, I'd like to get that out front and get it moving so we can be ready for the next meeting. I think the second question I have, and I'm not satisfied, when I inherited this ADU, there is blank language. It is difficult in the Court of Indiana to prove appearance or consistency of style. Those are dangerous words. I would appreciate any edits or replacement of those words to make them, we do not want something that is unsightly to the neighborhood nor out of rhythm or compliancy, which is empty language again, with the existing primary, right? And I don't know what we have. I would argue that we may remove everything about appearance because we've defined what we don't want.
That's what code is for.
That's exactly. We don't want mobile homes. We don't want the trailer. I think it's putting us in a weird position in terms of enforcement. And given the fact that these have to be approved by the building commissioner and run through the plan, I would argue even a review process, including the TRC, be included in here. Breathing some air back into the TRC, giving them purpose. I'd like your response and opinion on that question. Lastly, I think more importantly, how do we keep track or identify these ADUs? There has to be a permitting, there has to be an approval, a review. There's a process in here. It involves the building commissioner once a year, obtaining a license or permit from them, an affidavit, if you will, or a reconfirmation. Take a look at that section for me. I think that's enforceable. I think it helps us keep track of them. I lowered the penalty. Steve had it at $200 a day. I felt that was incredibly harsh, draconian, if you will. So I went ahead and revised that. See what you think. And apart from that, I would suggest that anything else that you want to reconsider or consider. I think we've hashed it pretty well. We've given it a public walk, and keeping in mind that if in its imperfections, we can always go back to it and revise once it's in the ordinance, right? It does not have to be canonized from day one. So,
and anything we don't catch, if town council catches it, they can send it back to us.
100%. So 100%, and it can be it's a living document as it exists forever. It's never fossilized. So we're okay if we miss something, I guess, is what I'm saying. Apart from that, if that's it for the ADU discussion, then I don't think we need to do it. Give yourself some time to read through it and edit.
So I just have a question.
Yes, sir.
Kevin, is your comment about language about appearance?
Yes, sir.
Is there language that is in this ordinance that you would strike or take out?
Yeah, there.
Like A4.
Yeah, I inherited this language, Don, and I didn't want to be the reason. Yes, A4 is absolutely problematic to me. It reads as follows: attached ADUs shall be designed so that the appearance and character of the principal dwelling are maintained when viewed from surrounding properties or public right-of-ways. Well, I'm not an architectural guy, and I'm not certainly a student of history. I can't say what does that mean? How do I measure if something appearance-wise? I can sort of understand it, obviously, on a visceral level, but on a legal level, if somebody wants to challenge that, we're going down a bad road here, in my opinion. But again, I'm asking for confirmation of your opinion.
Because the way I'm reading that is the principal dwelling, that's going to be the main home, and if it's going to look like a home, then you could actually have an accessory dwelling look like Snoopy's house, Snoopy's doghouse. The principal one matches the neighborhood, the other one's the one that stands out.
The way Joel said, there's no reason your primary residence can't look that way either.
No, that's fair.
But, and I think this is demonstrating what I don't want to have happen, is a long, laborious discussion about.
I mean, what it says is they have to match each other, right? It doesn't say that either one of them has to match the neighborhood.
Right, there's later clauses.
I mean, I'm just looking at 4, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
But yeah, how would you know? I mean,
Parents maintain,
And gentlemen,
that's a,
I will
that is a
sim-
slippery slope.
I will simply reference that we have barndominiums that have been installed by any stretch of the imagination, do not fit within the surrounding neighborhood.
Correct.
We have some very high-end houses that were built in neighborhoods that were never intended, and surrounded by houses that would not architecturally be on the same level. Those are out of line. See, this is a silly thing, so, okay.
it's a free country.
It certainly is.
You know, some states don't know. So A4 and C4 would be particularly,
I think so, but anything else that you might detect, let me know. I want precision if possible. Thank you.
Do you have, you said that $200 is too high. Do you have a figure in mind?
I put it in there. I've done my own editing. I apologize, but I did note that it was $200 for the reference. I believe I've changed that from this point
Oh,
forward.
$200 per week.
Per week. I thought that would be,
I see, okay, so Steve had it at $200 per day.
Yeah.
Not $200 per week.
and maybe a week is too long, because now, okay, what happens if I go 4 days? So
Okay.
feel free, gentlemen, to redo that and rate it by day. I just realized that my own mistake there.
$50 a day.
There you go. You count weekends?
Yeah, absolutely. For less than a cup of coffee. For only $1 a day.
Yeah. we can. All right, thank you.
Pretty serious, talking about a cup of coffee.
So besides the edits we're going to make, this is generally the format.
I would appreciate it, yeah. I think that's what we'll take to council. I would recommend the following course of action. One more edit. We hit it at the end of June as a vote. We come back at the end of June, our first meeting of July, I take it to council, I share it with council. I would ask for council to act by the end of July, and we'll put it into the ordinances and move forward. I think we have existing conditions already where we have ADUs on the ground.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get into a state of compliancy.
So I just had a couple more questions.
Yes, sir.
If I look down at D,
Yes, sir.
what was your thinking in terms of a
I don't know if it were mine.
detached? So you got D1,
Yes, sir.
attached a minimum of 350,
Yeah, that did-
max of 1,000.
Yeah.
Then detached,
I left that in there because,
350 and 800. Why
we've
why a
combined,
difference?
yeah, that's what I don't understand. So here's what happened. In my notes and in the edits, we removed detached, dadus and adus. We treated everything. That was a remnant, and I'm trying to ask you if that's a fossil. I didn't point it out, but you picked it up. I don't know why, you had the conversation. I don't remember why we have separate. I think that's problematic. I think we just go with the one standard, a D1, and remove 2. And then when I edited the first time, I removed it, but I redone it because I thought I don't have the right to edit. I need your approval, this is not my cowboy. But I appreciate it, not glad the same thought. I don't know why that would be different.
The other one there in D is 3.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm thinking about, because we've got some lots in town that are pretty big and have tiny little houses. So suppose I
I can think of that, yeah.
So suppose I own one of those lots, and I'm like, I'm gonna put up a 1,500 square foot or 2,000 square foot house.
That's a great point. I can think
And
of 2.
then the little one is gonna become the ADU.
I can think of 2 on College Street alone.
Right, that's what we're talking about last month.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too with you.
So how
Well,
could that work?
And is it necessary? There's size restrictions already on the ADU, correct?
Well,
So,
yeah, I'm just thinking about, well, there's an existing structure, and it's like, well, actually, that existing structure where I live is going to be the ADU, because I'm gonna build a new primary.
Well, but on your hypothesis, it's going to be the ADU, so you don't have to worry about it being 1,500, whatever the 50% is.
Because really what we're talking about with with any ADU situation, you're gonna end up with 2 dwelling units on property.
And I go back, and as strange as it sounds, I go back to CBS Sunday morning. There are people who choose that their primary dwelling is a smaller dwelling, and they use their larger ones for, there's nothing wrong with that, right? What I need them to do, and I think it's stated in here, is declare which one is which.
Okay.
Exactly. It shouldn't be interchangeable.
And please see if that language comes through to you. But I need to know which one is your primary, which one is your ADU. And it's not based on size, to Don's example here. It could end up that the primary is declared as being smaller. There's nothing wrong with that.
So
But
you could switch it even
you
if you had.
You can, but your ADU is going to follow the measurements and not be larger than 1,000 square feet. That's it.
Mr. Berger said something last month when we were having this discussion, I forgot what it was, but there was something about declaring which house was which when you were building it.
It depends on where you're at with the language, but what we had talked about is you did not want separate utilities to the ADU. So whichever has the utilities coming into it would be the primary.
Yeah, and I think I did not.
That's the way that would be set.
And go to the utility section, because I didn't change it again. I left it in because I had originally picked up on an edit, but detached accessory dwelling units shall maintain independent water and sewer connections unless otherwise approved by town utilities. And that's wrong.
That's wrong.
Yeah. But that was the original.
And that's what you've got to argue with Mr. Porter about, because he wants that, thinking it will get subdivided in the future, and I think the discussion here is we do not want it subdivided in the future. We do not want to make it easy to subdivide in the future.
Makes sense.
Shall have subordinate or connecting to the primary. I'll make that correction if that's okay with you right now.
So that
Yeah,
means,
that was original, yeah.
so that means you'd have to switch all that connection, all those hookups, if you decided to build a primary and designate the old primary as the ADU?
Yeah.
Well, either way, you're gonna have to tie in your sewer.
Yeah.
But I could see where the primary electric service could be a hassle.
Prior to issuing any permit for an ADU, this is B number 2, the property owner shall submit a notarized affidavit affirming that the owner occupies or intends to occupy either the principal dwelling or the ADU as his or her principal residence. So right there, we're declaring, we could be more precise with that language. They have to declare which of the homes is the ADU and which one's the primary, to avoid what Don was saying originally.
And where are you on this?
I'm sorry, B2.
So, well, yeah, if you take away the size division in whatever we just looking at in D,
Yeah.
then you need to declare which one is the
That's
primary.
right. And I think
Otherwise, the size will probably tell you which one was the primary.
Yeah, and I think we do because of Don's
Or
example.
the sewer connection. One of those three things would tell you which one was the primary.
Yeah, and the utility we want the primary to have the utility connection, is that correct? That's language. Detached accessory dwellings shall, accessory dwelling units, that was another miss on my part. I'm glad we're doing this, guys.
I was gonna say.
I went back.
We were supposed to look at this
No,
and come back.
I know, but I had made changes and I left that document sitting there
I think
because.
there's some of these things we should just do right now.
That's fine, Don, if you guys want to go, if you want to dive into it, again, I was being
Just, there are some
respectful.
obvious ones, but.
Sure.
Like, on B2, as his or her principal residence, I think we want to say as the principal residence. The reason I say that is because his or her principal residence could be Florida. And
Oh, good point.
you could read that to say, whoa, well, if you're not an Indiana resident, then you can't have an ADU, even though you own property.
So instead of
I think you might, because I
Would
think
you-
then the principal residence.
that rather than either,
Yeah, so
I removed
the
the either.
reference is to the lot as opposed to the individual.
Just put the word here.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yes.
Yeah, so the address, when you're getting on the property, which one's.
Yeah, we don't care what state license plate you have on your car.
Mhm.
But in Culver, which of these is the principal residence and which is the ADU?
This is bringing up a really weird question that I would direct to our firefighter. if you come across a situation, like obviously, most of the time you're coming to a scene, you're gonna call to a single address, but you see two structures. Going forward, would that need to be something of like, the principal is vacant because they live out of the country or whatever, but the ADU is utilized as a rental for the weekends?
I'm like assuming alarm-wise or somebody calls you, we're gonna go no matter what, whether it's occupied or not. And a lot of times, key holders are not easily gotten a hold of to know if a residence is occupied or not. Why do you show up to when you expect to be?
Yeah.
So it'd be ideal, but I don't see it's practically possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Like if somebody's even gone on the weekend.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair too, yeah.
Yeah. So
would an ADU have a separate address? Particularly if it's detached, or even attached?
I don't even know if that's legal.
I mean, I don't know, I'm just making up an address, like,
Like at a half.
like,
You have it now,
1,000 or 1,000A.
Yeah, I think there's an undetached one on State, so it's someplace down south of I'm thinking of where I'm looking to talk. Someplace down south of CBS, there's a house with it must be on Ohio. There's the main house, and there's a completely attached bit, but the completely attached bit has a different address sign on it.
I mean, yeah, you can apply for a separate address, but as far as I know, if you apply for a different address for like an apartment structure, like most of the time they'll just be like A or B on the same unit.
Sure.
But I don't think it really changes anything property-wise. It's the little movements I fear that over time, we're like, okay, we let them do this, and then let them do that, and then slowly it just starts getting subdivided.
So each turn.
Inch by inch.
Do we cover, and I was reading this, and I might be reading into, if you would look at A, general standards, number 6, does this mandate that the accessory dwelling never be detached out of the parcel never be subdivided? If you read it, no more than one ADU shall be permitted per parcel containing a principal single-family dwelling.
So on the face of it, it says that you can't have 2 ADUs.
That's exactly
Yes.
it, but does it mandate that ADU never be detached?
Well, if
Through
it's
subdivision.
unattached, there's no way to, it can just become part of the house regardless.
I'm thinking if it's detached,
Yes.
if you were going to propose to subdivide it, you would have to be minimum lot size and
Yes.
setbacks to be able to do that.
But, yes.
So in theory, I think you could under our
could.
existing ordinance.
But it would have to be pulled out of, it would no longer be an accessory dwelling by definition, and
Correct.
the utilities would have to be established as separate.
Right.
Yeah. But six wouldn't prevent you from doing that as the words are written on the page.
No, and there would have to be a subdivision process in front of the plan to do it, so therefore the circumstances of the case would be considered.
And we have
You
that
can grant or not
process.
grant.
Yeah.
So there's a process in place for this, that's why I'm just ensuring.
Yeah.
I think you're accountable.
Okay, I just want to be accountable. Thank you. It was a slippery wicket, boys. I got into the editing mood and I started thinking, wow, I'm ruler and king. Come on in, Kevin. What do you got?
There is a fire department issue that you may want to address. And I'm not sure if the zoning ordinance is the right place to address it, but on commercial buildings where there are multiple services or buildings that appear to be separate but aren't on separate services, there is a requirement for placards or something saying where the disconnects are at. So John's situation where the accessory unit's on fire, they're gonna go there, normally they would go and pull the meter. They're not gonna find a meter on the accessory dwelling unit. There would normally need to be something on that building where you would normally think the meter would be that says, over here's the meter, here's where you kill
The
it.
point of disconnect.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, so you have that So the fire department knows. And it needs to be something fairly obvious for them to be able to see it. It's not going to be any more intrusive than having a meter on the side of your house, but you're going to have some kind of a signage or something. More than likely, if I were going to build this, I would put a disconnect for that accessory dwelling unit on the outside of the house. But then I would put a marker on there that says, and the power is coming from here, not the street. So that the fire department would know and know how to get it cut off. But I don't know because electrical is normally a building code and a building inspector issue, not a building commissioner and a zoning issue. So I'm not sure where to insert that language so we make sure it's covered.
Let me ask you this, Kevin. Let's do two birds, one stone, and tell me if I'm wrong here. If we're wanting them to declare which one is the primary and accessory, what would be wrong with them putting a placard on stating that this is an accessory dwelling and that the utility, and have a statement that utilities can't, shut-offs will be found on primary? So what we've done with the placard is we've identified visually which one is the accessory dwelling unit, and we've also indicated to our fire department that, which we could tell them, but we'll also put a phrase in there, utilities are located on primary unit. And that's an interesting thing, and that could be found underneath owner occupancy requirements. I like the idea.
I just want to make sure that's covered because that becomes a safety issue. And I normally deal with it on commercial buildings, but it's the same situation. It would be the same as if there were multiple apartments. We would want to tell the people where to shut it off.
Yeah, just architecturally, I think you're going to get like, okay, we can stick that anywhere on the building. You know,
And that's
you're
why
going to
I
have
wanna
to get
see that.
detail where,
Visual from entryway, how you're the
Yeah.
fire guy, what do we want?
I would think
Well,
requiring a disconnect with that placard on it.
I think that the disconnect would be ideal
On the accessory?
on the accessory structure. Yeah.
But again, getting to that question, where it's put,
But you don't do that with the
walk around.
meter anyway.
Yeah, you do a walk around the structure anyway, you always, to assess the area, hazards, disconnect, gas service.
But you
Does it
want
be a
to,
gas
to be clear,
property?
you want to disconnect of that, there won't be a gas, there'll be a gas line, but do you want a shut off there too?
Yeah, that's,
External shut off.
But it's the same thing. It's telling you it's all coming from the house.
The house.
is there a
And
size
if you go shut the
requirement?
meter off at the house, it shuts off the accessory dwelling unit. If you go over and pull the meter at the house, you've shut off the accessory dwelling unit.
And in the chance that there's a proximity there, you're going to want to do that
Yeah.
anyway.
I think we're gonna hear from people who have to really upgrade service, and it's gonna cost some serious money. We'll see, I guess, I don't know. Even gas meters upgrade to be able to pipe gas to an auxiliary structure. I mean, there's a reason a lot of people's garages it has its own service.
But again, this is voluntary.
That's true. I mean, it's part of the cost of doing
It's
this.
a part of the cost of doing it.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be glib about it, I'm just saying this
Okay.
is, for safety reasons, I think that it takes priority.
Now,
Sorry.
okay, what a house has to have 200 amp service right now. What would you, I would think you're gonna have to mandate what kind of service an auxiliary structure like this should have.
Is that a building code issue versus?
I don't know, it's gonna be a living space, I don't know. if
But it's
there
no
is.
different than if you, just because we're building it separately is no different than it was as an addition add-on. You know, that's going to be for the electrician and
Okay,
decide what the
okay.
power
Fire
requirements
size.
are.
Okay.
Right.
And I think we added the catch-all phrase in here that it shall comply with applicable zoning and developmental standards of zoning. And there's a phrase in here too that is talking about building, and that's covered underneath there. But again, let's make sure. That's,
Yeah.
the one thing I did get right tonight was we were ready to move again. And I realized I was doing too much editing. Yeah, I'm sorry, if you go to design and construction C, just to be clear, number 2, all ADUs shall comply with applicable building, fire, electrical, plumbing, and life safety codes, and shall be subject to inspection by the town when deemed necessary by the building commissioner.
In our codes, is there a minimum or maximum distance structures, or minimum distance structures can be next to it.
Well, attached,
Well, and that, for not attached dwelling, is what I'm saying.
you know, like.
Because you do want space to be able to fight a fire, and having one building so close to the other, if one catches fire, the other was going to.
Yeah, take a look at it. Article
Building code
6.
requires 5 feet.
Yeah.
5 feet?
Yeah, Article 6, the developmental standard.
That's gutter to gutter.
It's
Or at
firewall
least-
to firewall.
Firewall to firewall?
Yeah. If you're closer than 5 feet, you gotta upgrade your windows, your wall, everything has to go to, I think, a 2-hour fire rating for both of the structures.
Okay. And as you walk through Culver, think about that.
Oh, don't, yeah.
I'd be that guy.
I don't know how.
But we're dealing with the new.
Remember the, actually, no, here doesn't remember. When we used to have a restaurant down where the lake house door was there, had the same wall as the building next to it, neither of them is there anymore.
What company I do kind of remember? Maybe,
If you're referring to the one I can remember.
Yeah, well, Provolone Estee's restaurant, and there was the bowling alley was right next to it, right?
yeah.
And we lost them both for the same reason, because one of them got on fire and so the other one got on fire.
That would have been pretty.
Oh, yeah, it was 76 or something.
You don't remember the bowling alley?
I was 5 years old.
Oh, man, they had the best tenderloins.
Oh, they
in the
did. I remember
world,
that.
man.
My
Oh,
mom
my
cried
God.
about that.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I know.
let's not go down that road.
Unbelievable.
I'm hungry.
All I'm saying is that it illustrated the point valuable.
Yes.
One other thing on size on D3,
Yes, sir.
going back there, thinking about like College Avenue. Why not? If you got a 1,200 square foot within residence on one of those large lots, why shouldn't you be able to put up a 800 or 1,000 foot ADU?
I don't understand. As long as you've got your green space.
Yeah.
I don't,
As long as you-
yeah, I don't see that it really matters.
I've already put a line through it. I'm preemptively suggesting that I know exactly
Thank
where
you.
that I got you.
Okay.
I think when we were discussing about if the situation of the primary ends up being dwarfed by the auxiliary, then yeah. If they have the space to build it safely
Yeah.
and within code, if they want to be the dollhouse of the mansion,
Like this could be done.
But I would also, this goes back to the point I made quickly. I think that putting a review process before you're given permission to declare an ADU, and maybe that's TRC, and then bringing it to the plan for recommendations. Getting an approval process in place is as important to me as the ordinance itself. As long as there's a process that vets and can consider circumstances and validate, right, moving forward. I think that's the most important thing to me. The language itself is useful, but can be changed, but having a process. So it's not the Wild West out there, where we're just throwing up ADUs because there's language in the book that says we can have ADUs, right? And that's what I'm afraid of. And it may have already started preemptively. And we're gonna have to reel that back in a little bit at the beginning.
So a question I have, which in my mind, I'm thinking of most of these ADUs, I foresee local people, if they want to do it, are probably going to convert garages first.
There you go.
The question I have is, when people do convert a garage to a section of the house and just make it another bedroom, are there permitting restrictions and things they got to go through for that? Or they just take the door out, put up a wall, and throw down some carpet? Because they're changing the structure of it.
They're going to get a permit for
A remodel of some kind.
yeah, improvement permit probably from the county.
Technically, they're required to do a permit because they are making a structural change.
Yeah.
If you didn't do that, if you just made it into the apartment and had all the stuff and you didn't have to go through a wall where you're putting in a header and doing all that kind of stuff, you don't technically have to get a
Kind of
permit.
thing. Yeah. And so that becomes.
The issue with the garages doing the change is garages don't have the proper foundations. And you're going to get frost heave and all the other things because you don't have a 3-foot deep foundation, because you don't need it for an unheated garage. So it becomes those type of problems. But that's kind of a homeowner buyer beware, you did that.
And it's a discussion with the building commissioner too, from the county, as he permits these things. And I think that doing the overlay in this case is good. But yeah, I think that it's interesting. The other thing I can foresee is people converting their garages into livable space. I don't know, we may have had this example, and then creating hardship for themselves, pleading for extra storage, bins, garages, and accessory dwellings beyond that. And that's the BZA's boy.
I shuffled my
We know.
pencils
And
out
so
there, see
we-
what happens.
Yeah, we just stopped that.
Well, and I think we need to address that maybe we put it in the ordinance that the conversion of a garage or storage unit into an ADU does not constitute a hardship for future, please.
Fair.
For lack
Future
of a-
variances.
Yeah, for variances.
Yes.
And I'm just trying to be respectful of the BZA, and you're making a choice. You're choosing actively, and that is a self-imposed hardship.
And that circles around again to what you were saying earlier about needing to keep a record of these things.
Yeah.
My primary example, but I hope again it proves the same point. The water supply to my house for the first 80 years anybody lived there came from Plymouth Street. And came, I mean, it literally came under the garage of my cousin who built it. Built the garage, and when he did, that was when we suddenly discovered we needed to move it to Academy Road instead. But you know, if it hadn't been for people who happened to know that it was under Plymouth Street, you would have never guessed that that was where you should look for a water connection or a water cutoff, which was, you know, 2 lots away on the other side of the street. If I buy a house and I discover, I mean, I guess it would be obvious that it had been a garage at some point, but I don't know. Depends on how good of a model job we're making.
Yeah.
So that needs to be keeping track.
I would like you to consider these 50 things.
So, in your intention, that you bring this to us for a vote at the June meeting?
I think so, Tom.
Okay.
And given what I have now with your
Capture that for the
permission,
minutes.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and add these edits from tonight in the next draft. And I apologize for removing my initial edits that probably brought more conversation back to the table, but I wasn't authorized by you guys to edit that. So I want to make sure that I'm honoring what you guys want. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Are you going to post it, or I'd be interested in looking at a copy?
Sure. I can, if you guys okay with posting it online for review?
Sure.
Yeah. For public review? I think it's
After
wise.
the edits go in, do we want to post it 3 weeks before the next meeting? So, like, next week?
Yeah, I can pop the edits in this week, because gosh darn, I'm not doing it. Okay. I'll be happy to. We're all busy. That was your 2 weeks so far. But, all right. So let me get it done this week, early next week, Kevin, and maybe I'll shoot you an email personally to get it out to you. Thank you.
And the other thing besides obviously posting it online, is there enough space in the corkboard out front? I mean, it is just 4 pages.
Boy, Karen's very protective of that space. You're making me walk down the road here, buddy. I prefer to put it online, but I can post out there. I could you know what I'll do?
Yeah.
I will advertise that inside the door I'll make 5 copies, hard
There you go.
copies,
There
set
you go.
underneath
Okay.
the desk, and they can come get a copy. Boy, I
Leave it
just
right
wiggled
there.
my way out of that, didn't I? All right,
Well
thanks.
done.
Just because I fear that somebody's going to come along and say, we did not talk about this, we've been doing backdoor secret meetings about it. And so I want it where it is publicly available and
I have a
for the
term.
most part, any time of the day.
It's called an
meetings
iPad.
require food.
Cities. Okay, moving on.
Yes.
Just my stomach.
Town manager updates.
Town manager updates really quick. I've been working with Mr. Clevenger through a series of conversations, and the impetus behind those conversations is obviously the pending theater tear down and the rebuild, which we're very excited about, and the design of that. But more importantly, we have an opportunity to think a little bit larger here and more intentionally. We are going to commit resources towards a design firm, engineer firm coming in and looking at the park, the street, the parking. There's numerous elements that we're looking to redesign. What's in play is lighting, sidewalk width, stylistic designs on the sign, and more importantly, the facade up there. If we can project some development in that region, if Bennett's were to sell and some redevelopment, what do we want that to do? What do we want that to look like? I was researching, and many a community has overlay rather than zoning ordinance changes, or spot zoning, if you will, or specialized zoning. They use this overlay or a special district. We've referred to this as a art and cultural zone in the Ready Grant, creating a park, community area. We have a look down there that was replicated from the depot with Bourbon Street and Lake House with the brick. It's a look, and when I met with Indiana Landmarks, they said, by all means, do not try to replicate history down here. Get a streetscape that is coherent and consistent, and that is appealing and creates, what are the height of those buildings? What do we want those to look like, given being sensitive to the lake view? I think being forward-thinking on this, creating an overlay or a standard that's thoughtful, that is strategic, that promotes what we're trying to create in a neighborhood. And I would argue we may want to look at this at Main Street as well, if we're going to do a renovation or whatever the retail strategies, but using planning to be more intentional about creating. That would include utilities, storm, just getting a set of standards in place. We sort of have that with the street already in place that we need to enforce and start looking at. I'm not being, not a lot about saying that, but there are times I need to become more familiar with that, to be honest with you. Rather than kind of approaching this single one-off, Bill has suggested and recommended he'll be taking this to the council. I put a handout in this, and this is for your consideration only, gentlemen, please, tonight. But there are some just things I pulled off from research, including things such as streetscape standards, things that have, that other communities, small towns, especially in vacation areas and tourism, landscaping, height, scale, material, style, signage, lighting, parking, vehicle and pedestrian crossings, and circulation. There's architectural standards, and here's again that sticky wicket I talked about before, but this is more rooted in things like roof forms, permitted exterior materials. Do we really want vinyl siding? Again, we have a couple buildings on Main Street that have vinyl, and the rest have that historical, pseudo-historical 1905 look, maybe. You can see what the theater looks like right now next to those two brick buildings. If we don't control standards, and I don't mean to be negative about it, but there's a reality to this. What do we want that to look like? And if we're not forward thinking, we're reacting to it, and now we're making up circumstances, and we're being provoked by situations rather than being intentional in design. And I would like your opinion of this. Bill has suggested meeting here in the next couple of months, creating work sessions jointly with council to start considering this. Led by Bill and the council, obviously, and Joel as president, and just having that interaction. We can invite public in as well and start soliciting some opinions there. If we can get these standards somewhat ironed out, we can also borrow. I'm happy to do research of other communities, which would require me to drive down to Madison on your, no, I'm kidding. But I would like to think about this a little bit. I think we have a wonderful opportunity ahead of us, and I try hate to waste it, getting fixated or missing it and reacting to things.
So how does this interact with the firm who came and had the Wednesday meeting in the library a couple months ago?
I think it interacts well, and I think that's why I'm asking us to start considering this. I think we're going to have information about Main Street, and that's going to be relevant to facade, streetscape. I also think we've secured a community foundation grant through Marshall County already for the park. I'm very hopeful for Ready that the monies will come in to support it, but we're going to be able, we've already secured money for the park anyway, and for Lake Shore, and bringing in a professional firm there, specifically, not so much retail strategies, they're much more on the design things, but I need utilities, I need street, and I need one person to coordinate everything. So there's a massive undertaking there. And having that knowledge from the engineering design firm, I think having some standards that speak towards that interact with it and reshape the standards as we get that information in. But I think we also can start thinking about it right now. What do we want it to look like, and then give that information to the design firm. See how it works, have them push back. But we're going to have conversations here, and if we don't have this in place, either we're nodding our heads simply and accepting it, or we're going back and trying to recorrect design. And that's kind of my 10-cent spiel, but Bill and I've had some great conversations. And there is a desire from the council. He thinks, he hasn't approached council yet, but we both think that, don't you, sir? And under his kind of nudging, I moved forward on this with, put this together, this document for your review. And we're going to share, we shared an email with council, but we're going to bring it up next Thursday night as well.
That's this Thursday or?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday?
I got enough meeting. I got PCA redevelopment this Thursday. Anyway, that's it for me. No, that's it. I appreciate you guys' input on the ADUs, and now I'm putting a pause on that, saying let's do this now. Just, I can put some edits together and get forward on that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? No, from some. I'm going to ask you a question. From last month, you talked about increasing county centralization as opposed to towns, townships, and so on. Is there a name for that process? I mean,
No, there's not really. I mean, I compare it, in my meetings and some of the conversations I'm hearing, I keep thinking that we talk about symptoms and if you will, call it a disease. It's not a negative thing, but I think there's a push to redefine the base unit of government at the county level. I think it's very similar to school consolidation, and I would call it governmental consolidation. They're talking about it with townships, they're talking about it with, I think, given the reforms in property taxes, I think you're going to see some unincorporated going on across the state of Indiana. Simply, towns that are incorporated right now that aren't going to have the funds to remain that way. Now, I may be wrong, that's a projection, but there are some towns right now that I can honestly tell you are barely making it now. What's going to happen to when there's a readjustment to that? You know, and the way that the county tax structure is now, you're at the mercy of your county government. If you're a local government under 3,000. And so I think
because the county
declares, you have to ask the county for the, I think it's 2.3, don't hold me to that, because the numbers sometimes, but you're allotted a certain property, or a lit, excuse me, that comes your way, and you've got to be able to support yourself, and you're taking a major income stream with some of the suggestions out that they're reforming property taxes with. Luckily, we've been good, and we've done Baker Tilly, and I think we're fine. We also have some alternative income streams that we can consider, unlike some of the other communities that are located in the cornfields of Indiana, right? We have the luxury of a big lake out there, and that can make up some differences, but that's what I think it's helpful. Yeah, I think, and that's all conjecture and prediction, but I'm hearing it a theme every time I hear the state and all these different meetings I go to. So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
On that note, moving on to citizen input.
Just a couple comments on what Kevin said. Be real careful with overlay districts, because every community I've dealt with, they're unhappy with them, and their building commissioners are extremely unhappy with them, because that means it's two sets of documents that you've got to figure out what to look for, and you've got to meet the underline and then the overlay, and it becomes very confusing. I'm not saying it shouldn't be done, but just keep in mind there's some pitfalls with it, and to keep it as limited as possible. The other thought that I had, and I don't know where the town is now, and this may not be the right place for it, but the town kind of absorbed the park board. I assume the park is still required to have a 5-year plan, and if that 5-year plan can be rolled into this new plan that we're talking about, so you kind of kill two birds with one stone,
yeah,
that would be a way of moving things forward. But I remember it being a big deal that parks had to have a 5-year plan.
I think that was due necessarily because of the park board, but I don't know that, Kevin. And if there is one out there, I'm unfamiliar with it, but I'll make sure that I familiarize myself.
Well, I'm not sure. I think it has to do with the entity of the park, and I'm not sure. You actually, you kind of dissolved the park board and you kind of took over the park board. So it was kind of a two-step thing, but I don't know what that does to that 5-year plan.
Take a look.
And I'm just thinking that if it is a requirement, make sure you hit those things at the same time, so that you're not turning around and having to do this again.
Okay. Thank you for the advice, and I appreciate you sharing that experience, because things in theory versus in practice, right? So I'll sit down and have some more conversations.
Plymouth got overzealous with theirs, and right now we're trying to, I sit on that zoning committee, and we're trying to undo some of it, because they have a historic district overlay that is sprawling.
Yeah.
And then it becomes an issue of keeping track of that, and yes, there's a map, but in your head, when you go out to the property, do you know, am I in this district or am I out of this district? And it becomes somewhat of an issue. And my last thing is architectural standards. Oh, that's a slippery slope, because you can't just say we want brick, because there are 18 sizes of brick, there are multiple colors of brick, there's everything else, and if you get somebody who just wants to be, they will find a way to make brick meet your requirement, and then also meet what they want it to look like.
Yeah.
So that is a huge thing when you start getting into aesthetics.
But I think this is precisely the reason why Bill and I both want to start this conversation with the planning and the community for this reason. There are a lot of considerations here, and if we can get ahead of it and not react to it.
Again, I'm not saying don't do it,
No,
I'm just
I
cautioning that what sounds good in the little sound bite is going to grow into something hard to manage.
Yeah. Unless constrained by some type of leash.
A lot.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening.
Is there anyone online?
No, we ran them off.
Oh, sorry. You point blank ask them a question and they're like, no.
No.
All right, commission members' concerns and input.
Good.
All right, well, everybody have a great Memorial Day coming up. Be safe, and we'll see everybody here next month.
Good answer. And I will. Yeah.